Okay, Google SketchUp. We open Google SketchUp by clicking on Google SketchUp 2013 on bottom or off your desktop. Launch it, and we can just simply say start using SketchUp. Now, the tools we have in Google SketchUp are the following. The first tool in the top left hand corner there is the pointer tool or the selection tool. This allows us to click on things and to delete them, or not to delete them, just to click on them, and we can also click and drag boxes over them like this, right? So click or click and drag a box, pretty self-explanatory. The next is the paint bucket tool, and I'm going to come back to that in a minute. The next is the eraser tool. Eraser tool works simply by just clicking and dragging the eraser over an object and it gets erased. Just be careful though with the eraser tool. It's not limited to the surface you can see. It does work right through an object. So what I mean by that is the following. I've got a square and I view it from the front view like this, right? Straight up from the front, and I erase this line at the front. What happens is it erases both. It works right through the tool, all right, or right through the object. So just be careful of that. The next is the square tool. Square tool allows us to draw a square. Now you'll notice it doesn't really look very square from this angle anyway. That's where the views come in at the top. You'll see there's an isometric view, there's a top view, front view, left, right, back, all of the above, all right? So this is where we set up our views. All our different views are at the top there, starting from the isometric view. So I'm going to actually view this from the top now. So I'm going to click, you can see that's the roof of the house. We click on the top. So that was the square tool. The line tool allows us to draw lines connected to one another, straight lines, just like this. Okay, click and move the mouse and click again to complete the line. The next tool is the circle tool. There it is, circle, easy as can be. The next is the 3-point arc tool. Allows us to draw an arc. So we do one click, another click, and then the third click is in the middle. So we set the third click and then we set the radius of the arc. I'm just going to close that up just like that. Alright, the next is the polygon tool. Polygon tool allows us to draw a polygon with as many X amount of sides. You can set that up later on. I will show you. The next is the freehand tool. Simply by clicking and dragging the mouse, we can draw an object in freehand. Alright, so all of these objects for now are two-dimensional objects. And the way we get them into 3 dimensions is using the push-pull tool. So you can see if I put that in isometric, these are all 2-dimensional. Using the push-pull tool then, which is this one over there, you can see it's a little box with an arrow. I can change these objects into 3-dimensional objects pretty easily, just clicking and dragging them. I can also modify these objects by clicking and dragging on any of these faces. I can resize it just like that. If I want to add a circle onto the top of that, simply draw the circle on the surface and I can pull it. If I want to cut a circle away, draw a circle on that face, and again I can just cut that circle through. Oh, this one didn't go all the way through. Oh, it's actually gone longer than that. There we go. Through all. Alright, now you'll notice I've been rotating these objects around. The way I rotate it is using what we call the orbit tool. This is the orbit tool at the top there, and that allows us to rotate the view, not the actual object, just the view. Alright, you can also get to that tool by clicking and holding your middle mouse button. Okay, the one with the scroll wheel. Press and hold it in and you can rotate your object. The next is the pan tool. It's got the hand. We can pan these things around just like this, easy as can be. The next is the zoom tool. If we click on that, by clicking and dragging, you can move closer and further away from your object. This can also be achieved by using the scroll ball. So the scroll ball does the same effect as the zoom tool. The scroll, just interestingly about the zoom tool, it actually zooms to wherever the mouse pointer is. If I put the mouse pointer in the top corner here, you'll notice I zoom onto the mouse pointer. If I want to see this corner of this block, simply keep the mouse pointer there and I can zoom in as much as I like. So the zoom function always works to the tip of the mouse pointer. Good. The next tool is the move tool. The move tool allows us to physically move an object around the screen. Okay, so move it from one place to the other. So if I select this object using the selection tool, I can use the move tool and I can move that object around. The move tool can also be used to modify faces and surfaces. I can move the surface around, again, just using the move tool, or I can move edges. Okay, so let's select the edge, move tool. I can move edges. Alright, so you can modify both edges and faces using the move tool. Okay, the next is the rotate tool. The rotate tool allows us to rotate an object on the screen. So, for example, if I'm going to view this top view, if I view this half circle, let's select it, not quite, try again, okay, that looks good. The way the rotate tool works is, whatever color the tool is, you'll notice it's blue now, that is the axis around which we will rotate this object. So in this case, I do want to rotate it around the blue axis, so I click on the edge, click once, and that will lock the rotate tool into position. I click again on one of the surfaces, and then I can rotate the object around as much as I need. That is the rotate tool. The next tool is the follow me tool, and the follow me tool needs the following. The follow me tool needs a profile and a path in order to operate. So if I draw a profile over there, you see it's just a flat circle, and I draw a path. So I'm going to use the 3-point arc tool, and I'm going to draw a path from the middle of that circle, just like this. All right? So I have a profile, there's my profile, and I have a path. The follow me tool allows us to follow any profile along a path. So we're going to select the profile, apparently, okay, and we're going to follow it along the path. All right? That's how the follow me tool works. The next tool is the scale tool. The scale tool allows us to make an object bigger or smaller, the actual object. It's not like the zoom that just moves the position of the camera. This actually scales the actual object. So if we select the object like this arc, just by clicking and dragging a box around it, we can use the scale tool, and that will allow us to actually scale the actual object, make it bigger or smaller. Next tool is the offset tool. So the way the offset tool works is it will offset an edge, offset a sketch from an edge. So I want to, I think it's best if I just show you. We click here and we can offset this whole edge inwards. Okay, I'll show you the same on, let's view the top view. The same counts for, let's go to this one, this squiggly one over here. We can offset this by clicking on the edge. So apparently something else is still selected, and we can offset it. Now in this case you can see it's not working very well. There we go. Okay, because it's got this funny little lip over here, but nevertheless you get the point of the offset tool. Okay, the rest of these tools we're going to be looking at a later stage. This is just a text tool, that's an axis tool. We'll get to the rest of these tools at a later stage, but this is the very basics behind Google SketchUp. This is how the very basic tools work. Oh, one more thing, the paint bucket, I almost forgot. This is the paint bucket tool, and it allows us to add a texture or a color to any of these surfaces. So if I click the drop down box here and I go to colors, I can select a color for any one of these objects, just like this. Okay, you can also add textures. So if I want it to look like water, click on water, water sparkling, and just simply by clicking on the surfaces, we can add that texture to the surfaces. So that's the paint bucket tool. These are the basics of Google SketchUp. This should keep you, with this you'll be able to draw virtually anything.